The Torah begins describing Noah as he was righteous in his generation. What does that mean, in his generation? It sounds like it's excluding something, like in his but not in somebody else's. So the rabbis actually discuss it. And some say, well, yeah, he was only righteous in his generation because the people were so horrible and so wicked. He was only righteous in his generation. But if he had lived in Abraham's generation, he would have been a nobody. And others say that no, it's saying something else, is that he was righteous in his generation. But because people were so wicked, that's why he wasn't righteous enough. If he would have lived in Abraham's generation, he would have been much more righteous. So what are they arguing about over here? What's the discussion here? If Noah was more righteous, less righteous, what's the point? So the truth is that they're both correct. Because if you think about it, because people were so wicked, on the one hand, he wasn't as righteous as he could have been if he had been hanging out with more righteous people. But at the same time, if he would have been in Abraham's times, he probably wouldn't have been such a big, greatly righteous person. So the point is like this. The difference between Noah and Abraham was, Noah was told that God is destroying the world because people are so wicked. So what does he do? He goes and builds himself an ark. He saves himself, he saves his family, and that's it, done. Abraham also lived among wicked people. But what did Abraham do? Abraham reached out to people. He taught people, invited people to his tent, gave them a nice meal, right? And convinced them, taught them to believe in God. So they both lived among wicked people. But Noah's approach was, let me save myself. Abraham's approach is, let me help out others. And that's the lesson to us. The lesson is that Noah was righteous, but for his generation. To have that approach of not reaching out to others, that was okay for Noah, because he lived in such a horrible time. But for us, we must take Abraham's style. We must learn from Abraham. If we see wickedness, if we see no good, we got to get out there and teach them. Got to get out there and bring people closer to God. And with the elections coming up this week, I feel this is quite appropriate, because you hear so many times now people saying, "Oh, they're lost. They're totally no good. There's no hope with them." We live after the flood. We lived after Abraham's time. So if you feel somebody is no good, if you feel somebody is wrong, then take Abraham's style. Give them a nice meal. Give them some good food. Be nice to them. And hey, maybe that's the way we'll make the world like Abraham intended, like Abraham envisioned. A world that we get along with each other, a world that we can actually have true holiness, true peace.